Ed and Lorraine were a pair of legendary paranormal investigators, the owners of Annabelle and countless other cursed relics, but even they had their lines. Here's top 5 demonic audio recordings Ed and Lorraine Warren would fear. Let us know in the comments if you've ever heard something like this. Number 5. In 2002, on the long-running AM radio show Coast to Coast, a guest called in purporting to have audio from his uncle displaying the sounds of hell, obtained from a Russian digging operation in Siberia, where engineers had drilled a hole that was roughly 9 miles deep before breaking through to a cavity. Curious about whatever they had found, they constructed an extremely heat-tolerant microphone and tried to send it down the chasm in an attempt to discover what might be lurking below, and the answers would shock them. From what has been recorded on the audio played on the radio show, it does sound a lot like the screams of the damned. Take a listen.
Warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Okay, still with me? Of course you are, because I doubt you're getting any sleep tonight. Judging from that, it certainly doesn't sound like anything you'd expect to hear from a chasm. You know, maybe a gentle whoosh, a pleasant trickle of rainwater slowly descending some ore, not thousands of screams of agony, suffering, and torture. Whatever it is the engineers recorded, it clearly scared them badly, as the story goes cold here. No further effort was ever made to look into what was going on here, continue the dig, nor was any investigation made towards what was causing that audio. What exactly they found is something that's gonna haunt me, and I was only listening to it. Couldn't imagine being part of that team. And if you've been liking what we do here, why not toss a little subscribe our way? We got all kinds of scary videos every day for you, for your fear and delight. Number 4. Annelise Michel was a young woman, and one of the most notorious exorcisms in history. When she was younger, she experienced a seizure and was diagnosed with temporal epilepsy. Here she was taken in and treated at a psychiatric hospital, where her condition worsened despite medication and treatment. She became intolerant towards religious iconography and objects and began to hear strange voices. Her family was under the impression that this meant she had become possessed, and in 1975 they contacted a Catholic priest for an exorcism to be conducted in secret, although it was recorded. The audio was recorded, and what you can hear is truly spine-chilling. She can be heard growling in low guttural tones, identifying herself as Lucifer, Cain, and a number of other demonic forces. The audio is in German, so being able to make out any individual words is tricky unless your German is pretty good, but the audio alone is enough to send a blood-curdling shiver down your spine. Now, a strong warning. This audio is really disturbing, so if you can't handle it, just skip on ahead from this one, okay? The case was particularly extreme, as one exorcism wasn't enough. Michelle was exorcised 67 times over the course of a year, until passing away from malnutrition and dehydration. Her family and the priests would later be tried with negligence for their treatment of her. Number 3. The Enfield Poltergiest is one of London's most famous paranormal stories, serving as the basis for the second Conjuring film. The haunting took place from 1977 to 1979, where a family of 5 suffered at the whims of an angry, malevolent spirit. The spirit's primary targets seemed to be the family's 2 daughters, Margaret and Janet. While the haunting ran through all the traditional checklist of paranormal activity, you know, the greatest hits, levitating children, objects moving, strange noises, some of the most peculiar and incredibly disturbing was the children themselves speaking in low guttural voices, sounding like they'd been possessed. Why don't you pick your ears up and take a little listen to this?
Janet, Margaret and Betty, oh, they're sleeping, it's talking. She's sleeping, I'm talking. And
Skeptics claim that the children were just using ventriloquism tricks to throw their voices like that, but after listening to it a few times, I just don't know if I buy that. It's one thing to change your voice to sound a bit funny and make a puppet say something silly, but the way they sound can only be described as demonic. Truly horrifying stuff. It also doesn't really seem like playtime, you know? I'm not saying all little kids have to play tea parties and princesses, but how many little kids do you know that go around pretending to be possessed by spirits from the other side? Ed and Lorraine Warren actually did end up investigating this case too, interestingly enough, but only after the haunting had occurred, so they had to wait until things get simmered down before they were even willing to get into the door. I think that tells you a lot about this case. Number 2. YouTube user Tomorrow's Garden uploaded a video of himself in 2015 going for a walk through the woods hunting for mushrooms when he discovered something a lot more sinister than some myceliums. At first, nothing seems out of the ordinary at all, with Tomorrow's Garden simply walking around, chronicling his surroundings, taking in the mushrooms and the trees like a true connoisseur of nature, teaching us a thing or two about pheasant-back mushrooms. What should just be a gorgeous stroll through some leafy greens is interrupted by an earth-shattering roar of epic proportions. Take a quick listen.
think it's time to go.
Whatever that was sounds like it was crawling out of the depths below, announcing its presence to the world. Could this have been a skinwalker? A demon? One of the bosses from Bloodborne? What I need to call attention to is how calmly he says, "I think it's time to go." This guy is smarter than the main character in just about every horror movie I have ever seen. Here's something out of this world, nopes on out of there immediately. Except he returned 6 years later to that same site to maybe see if he could find that scream again. Or maybe the man just loves his mushies so much he'll risk it all for a look at a skull cap. Going back, he doesn't find the scream again, but does find a mysterious incinerator in the middle of the woods, which only raises more questions and provides absolutely no answers as to just what could have been making that horrible noise. Number 1. Our next clip comes from 2007, when a pair of homeowners in Philadelphia were complaining about something unnerving coming from the basement of their home, and it wasn't just raccoons getting into the trash. They claimed that it was something otherworldly. So, to set out to hunt the truth and find some hard proof, the couple placed a tape recorder in the basement to monitor for the next 3 days. And what did they find? Well, at first nothing, but then on the 4th night, after boosting the audio, take a listen to what they had heard. Worth noting is that this audio occurred around 3 a.m., which to paranormal enthusiasts will recognize as the witching hour, where it's said that the veil between our world and theirs is weakest. The homeowners claimed there was no physical change in the basement, nothing knocked over, no markings. So what was making that sound? Was it something trying to crawl its way into our world? All I know is that if I was living there, I would have a for sale sign on the lawn. I would be buying a plane ticket out of there faster than you can say Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's all from me, my little ghosts and ghouls. Thanks for watching and keep around for more scary videos.